Hello, everyone. So we're back for another session. And now that we're moving into our spring summer journal, because this one is done, yay. I always celebrate the completion of a journal, and I will celebrate and re-celebrate every time I look at one. Because for so many years as a working artist, you guys have heard me say this before, it was the hardest thing for me to become a regular journaler. Though I had noticed that my contemporaries that seem to journal all the time always seem to have the best art. They seem to have the best ideas. They never seem to run out of ideas. They just always seem so focused and directed when they were in their studios working. You know, when we would be at facilities or at, a number of years back, we used to sort of rent studio spaces when buildings first started lofting, and so a number of us got our own studios within these big open spaces. And you could walk by someone's doorway if they had it cracked, and they would just be into it, And then others would be sort of sitting there like I was. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm at the studio. What do I do? So I really do celebrate the completion of journals because once I figure out how to do them all the time, and basically that's what I'm being an advocate here on Patreon and over in my studio school is just sort of being there for you guys, being an accountability partner, just giving a lot of fresh ideas, seeing you seeing me working behind the scenes kind of thing. Just to be that encourager that, you can flip on the video, watch me work, and then you're in your studio, you're around your things, and ideas spark, you start working. Because once you get into a flow and a rhythm of doing it, and not only doing your practice, this is our practice. Journaling is our practice, the same way that a musician practices scales on an instrument, or a singer, opera singer does, the morning, arias, and then, or you have an athlete, who's in the gym, every day doing, going for 1,000 baskets, right? Or a runner. I mean, that's their practice. When they're on the court, or they go out the start gate, or they're in the front of the concert, in a concert hall in front of an audience, that's when they're actually sharing their craft. But behind the scenes, they're practicing. And that's what we're doing. We're practicing so that when you actually go to create that piece of art as you're preparing for an exhibition, or you're working on a commission, or you're wanting to create some, gifts for relatives and friends, that's when you're actually now doing your art. That's when you're performing. But this is all practice stuff. And without this practice stuff, the performing stuff just doesn't go as well as we hope. And a lot of artists I've noticed really don't have that concept down of the fact that you really should be practicing. So that's it. Of course, I'm always going to, every time I open one of these chunky books, ooh, I'm going to be kind of doing that little yummy, happy dance. So what we're going to do today is, that we're moving on to our spring summer journals. You've seen me share these. You've just seen the recent giveaway challenge that I've put up. And guys, I would include you in. If you're Patreon, you're over here, you're automatically in to win. And yes, I've had questions. Will I be shipping worldwide? Absolutely. If you win, I'm happy to send whatever you win to your the address that you give me. So that's fair square, right? So what I thought we should do is, as I'm working on more of these to put up in my shop, because I'll be doing these covers, and a number of you have reached out and said, hey, are you going to let us know over here on Patreon when you put the covers up first? And of course I am. So but these will be going over on my website in my shop, like many of you have bought from me over there before, so you know what I'm talking about. So I thought, let me show you how I make these, because there'll be those of you who don't want to purchase these. You have your own stuff, you want to make your own. And then even those who want to purchase this, I know you guys always still make your own. So I thought, let's have a session on how I'm making these so that you can get started on getting all yours done. Because in a couple of weeks, right at the beginning, in a couple of weeks, we'll actually start working on our journal. I'm getting everything together. And probably either next week or the week after, we'll actually start our spring summer journals. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you guys enough time to get your stuff together, make them and what have you. So that's what this session's all about. Alrighty. And another thing, if you're making covers for them and you want to make your leather covers for your journals, once you make the journal, it was a formula I had to come up with because I, took basically, this is the Midori Traveler's Journal concept, right? Nothing different here, really. But I made them when I started working I had gotten one of the Midori journals and used it originally as my cover for my travel journal when I first decided that I wanted to kind of do this concept and take it and be able to travel and do my work. And I like, patronizing companies that, originate their ideas and stuff. I'm not like one of these people coming around, just pirating things. I'm a book artist, a book binder. So, I very easily can make these with, my eyes closed. So that wasn't the problem. But I found two problems that didn't really work for me for how I wanted to use them, which is why I decided to make them and then sell them to other artists for the purpose of how we're using them for this. First thing is I found that the Midori covers were a little too stiff. Obviously they're designed for the purposes of that company and that's good, but they were a little bit too stiff to become pliable around the book as it expanded. It was okay in the beginning, but as it expanded, it didn't hug and just become one with my journal like I like my books to do, number one. And number two, it wasn't long enough. So after a while, the cover was like this, and this would be my book hanging out over here. And I didn't like that. So I made these covers so they're long enough that even when, let me show you the one I've been using. Where is it? This one. So when you first get them, it does seem like the book is dwarfing, like the covers are a lot longer, and it feels like the insert is dwarfing, the cover is dwarfing the insert. It seems like a little wrong, but that's only because we're creating this, I'm creating this so that it considers expansion, because we're gluing and we're adding stuff in here and this expands. So even though this right here is the exact number of pages that this was, because I've put the exact number of pages in the journal, you see the difference, right? This is just with nothing in it, and this is chock full of everything that we added during our journaling time. So you have to make the consideration for the fact that the book needs to work once it's packed. So even though once it's packed, you see how this it still goes around it. I even made it so that it kind of overlaps a little bit. So a lot of your pages are being protected by the leather. Because when you throw this down in your travel bag, you're out and about, you're sitting in a restaurant, a cafe or something, you got a lot of stuff around, it just kind of keeps your journal protected. And I like that. So that's why it's a little long, but it really works as things get thicker. You really will appreciate that extra leather and on the cover. So when you make your own, keep that in mind, that when you're making a cover to go around your entire journal, that you actually consider to make it a little bit longer than what you actually think you're going to need, because you really want to compensate for the expansion of the book. And these are fun, these inserts. I've done the fabric inserts now because it gives it a little bit more stability to your whole journaling process. It almost kind of makes a harder surface so that when you are journaling and doing, it just gives you almost like a board of sorts to kind of have a stability on. And then it's pretty. It's kind of like our tattered temples, right? It starts telling a story from the point of the cover. And these new ones I'm doing with a pocket in them. So it just gives extra space to tuck things, extra bits of paper that you're working with that you want to come back to. You can even stick your pens or rulers, different things down in there if you're, using it to travel with, right? So that's how I'm doing these. So when you make your outer pocket, your outer, just get yourself some fabric basically, and you just cut it to the width of the pages that you're using. I pretty much keep it the same as the pages. Even the pages pop out a little bit. And I do that on purpose because I don't want this cover and the thickness of it to sort of overwhelm the whole book as these other pages are popping out. Because I like to see a lot of the extra, the buildup. I like to see the history of the book building. So I purposely make these so that they're just right at the edge. And then I just put, this is antique sari silk and stuff on there that I've just collected over the time. So they'll all have, the ones I'm putting up will all have, some variation that goes along with the cover. Okay, so that's the mechanics of it all. So I wanted to explain that to you so you all would understand the mechanics of how the covers and the inserts work. Alrighty, so let's get going on duplicating. I think there's 28 pages in here. Let me count again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So there are 25 pages in here, which makes 100. That makes sense because that makes 100 pages. And our last book was 94 pages. So that's right. That's even a couple pages extra I put in this one. Okay. Plus an envelope. I like this little envelope. So I'm going to show you how I made these two. But every journal that I put up and send out will be like this one. It'll be a cover. It'll have a pocket. I'm going to put one of these fun envelopes in. I'll do one of these pages. Every journal will have one of these pages and one of, a collage page to start it. I think it's fun. It'll have my scripting on inside of it, but they'll be neutral. I'm keeping everything neutral. So that we really don't have, I don't want it to influence anyone else's color palette. We know we're working with the stained papers. We're going to be jelly printing for the most part. So it takes the jelly prints nicely. We'll have some of this in there, this sort of offbeat, just to kind of add some variation, but I'm keeping everything neutral. So when you get this page, it's also going to just be neutral like this. It's not going to be too much, but I figured I'd just add those in there. I think you guys would like them. And if you don't want them in this journal, you know how things slide out. So you can take it out and you can use it as a cover for another journal that you might want to start or an insert in another journal. So if you decide that you don't want to keep this in here, you can take it out and you still have enough pages for what we're doing. Okay, so that's going to be that. Now, let's get started. The first thing I want to do is show you these envelopes. So how I create them. You can take any size envelope. You can actually take envelope that comes in the mail. It may have, I bought these. I found these, at, my favorite Goodwill. There's a whole box of them. I had been wanting to use these, and no sooner than I thought about it, I go into a Goodwill and I say, let me look, and here's a whole box of them. I love when that happens. So, but these come in the mail all the time. So just grab one out of the mail, and even if it has an address and stuff on it, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and echo dye it, tea stain or coffee stain it or whatever. Use avocado or turmeric, and then collage over it. Okay, because I've collaged over it anyway. So you can pull this one out. So here, you just can collage over the side where all the information is or whatever. It's no big deal. So don't worry about that part of it. Just start collecting these glassine windows. I had one that came in the mail the other day. I don't know what I did with it, but it had a real big one like this. Oh, I loved it. I'm like, oh, keeping that one. So let me show you how I'm doing the envelopes, and then I'll put these to the side for right now. And I iron these oftentimes when they're done because they're real crinkly. And I iron them. Make sure that when you do echo dye these, when you coffee or tea stain them, put them, once you stain them, let them dry this side up, because this is still glue on here. And I find if you let them dry down, it will inevitably glue to the surface or anything that you may have it down, unless it's a release surface like a countertop, but even on a countertop, it can glue down and then you tear it when you're trying to pull it up. So I let them dry this side up. Okay. And then I go ahead and flatten them a little bit with warm iron. But the neat thing that happened when I was doing it this time, you see how the iron melted it? Of course, I don't use my iron for my clothes. I have the iron here in my studio. But I really like the way it melted it. Isn't that cool? It really gave a good look. So if you want that little melted look, just kind of real quickly, just run the bottom of the iron over it. You know, don't like put it down there because it'll melt the whole thing. It'll get on the bottom of your iron, but just kind of go over it real quick, and it melts so easily. And I think that just gives it a real old aesthetic. So some of them I did like that. Some of them I didn't. And I did them in little places. But anyway, that's just a neat thing I wanted to show you if you wanted that. I really like it. That's how I did that. Alrighty. That over there. So let's go ahead and show you how I do the envelopes real quick. So where is my glue stick? This happened to me the other day. Like, what happened to my glue stick? Like, you know how I don't remember moving it? I'm gonna have to get another one. Don't see it. Just use this one right now. Okay. So just go ahead and glue up the edge here. I can't remember to put this one in my travel case because I really like that one. Put it back over there. Okay. I took it off for some reason. Who knows? And then just go ahead and seal it. You know, I guess arguably you could use the glue that's already down there, but it's gotten wet already and it's probably not 100%. So, you know, I prefer using a glue stick. Get a nice seal. And then what you do is, because I like to open these, I like this to be the bottom. And then I can open this at the top, and this becomes my window. This becomes my pocket. So I just slice off a little bit. You can slice off whatever amount you want. But I just slice off a little bit here. Like that. And put it away. Okay. And then now the pocket opens at the top like that, which I prefer. Okay. So by example, this one, once it's folded, now this becomes a pocket, and then this becomes a pocket. So those are just neat things to add throughout. I mean, you could put as many of these in your journal as you want. And of course, you don't have to use the glassine. You can just use the regular number 10, you know, without the windows in them. If you can't find these or you don't get these things in the mail, just reuse the regular number 10 envelopes, and they do the same thing. But this is just fun to kind of tuck throughout the journal as well, because it becomes already pockets, things that, you know, you can play with these between the pages and stuff that we're doing. So get a number of these made up for your journal. Okay, so put that over there. Now, let's get started on how I actually am creating these. The kind of papers that I like to use. So, of course, I'm going to be using bond paper and copier paper, and just like this is vintage copier paper that I found. It's a nice thick weight, and it was originally this color blue. I found it at an antique place, and I coffee dyed it, and it turned this really good green color, which I absolutely love. So I'll have this in the journals, and then just all different types of coffee stain paper. So we'll pull, so let's go ahead and pull these and get them going. So I just kind of do a variation. So 3, 4, 5, and we'll get some of these, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Get some of these, and we'll get 14, 15, 16. So that would leave me. So I'm going to show you how you 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I have 20 that are going to be. So as you're putting yours together, I'm just showing you this way. You can do any combination, but you want enough of them that are already going to be blank. Because remember, we're going to be doing a lot of jelly printing in these journals. And so we want a pretty blank surface and, not a whole lot going on the surface for most of it, I would think. But you can do them any way you want. If you want to have a lot more, like already have text and a lot of images and things already on them, go for it. But for the ones that I'm putting together, I'm doing a number of pages. It's going to be blank, different kind of staining that we can print on, work around, collage on. Like, you might get to a day like this one and decide that, I want to just do a lot more collaging because I really like this blot of staining. So you might decide that, you want to do more with, just taking pieces of things you've already worked with and actually collage up so that, it may look more like this here, which became the inspiration for this journal series. You remember when I was working with these, I just really liked the way this looked. I loved it. It just really looks like old wallpaper, my whole old wall thing, right? So I'm like, the next journal series should be all about this type of thing. So you may come to a day and you want to do more collaging. You might not want to do as much jelly printing, or you may jelly print and then tear it up and use it as collage section. So you kind of can let the page sort of dictate. That's what I do. I kind of let it inspire me as to what I'm going to do on those pages. So that's why we want them mostly blank. But I am going to show you how to take and do some insert pages, because I do like to add like my text and what have you in there, because I'm going to work around my text in the books. And maybe I'll come to a day like this where if I have a lot of text on the page, then I'm going to maybe collage on them. I may even jelly print right on it, as you've seen me do, with a lot of intense color, but I already have this as a background page. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to put some of these in. And of course, you can take the same pages once you photocopy them, like you've seen me do before, and then copy or, stain them. And then you get this really nice, this kind of coloring with this. So, and I'll have, so this is a way to do it too in your journals. But what I want to do is I want to remind you in this process. And for those of you who are new over here and you're seeing some of these things for the first time, and you haven't gotten a chance to go back and look at some of the older things, you'll find these among the older videos. But since you want to start working on this and get ready for the new journaling that we're starting on, which is why I did this whole May giveaway, because I wanted to expand the community over here on Patreon and share Patreon with more and more people that have been following my work. Because most everybody's coming over here. You guys have already been following me anyway. So you're like, I want to do more. And so this works out. And I wanted to do it doing when we had finished up one series and we're getting ready to start a new one. That way, so many of you can just like start new with us. But yet all of the videos from that previous one, you'll find below. So you just kind of, if I were you, I think, because a couple of you have asked me, how should you navigate the page? I would just go all the way to the beginning and start at the very first video and work my way forward. But in the meantime, These, I put up videos every Monday. Generally, every Monday, I put both videos up. Sometimes one to go up on Monday, I want to go up on Tuesday, sort of depending on my schedule. But generally, so then you'll still be able to look at the new ones as well. You'll just be, binging double doses here. But I don't think that probably will be a problem for many of you. So that's kind of how I would do it. So this video is good because it's going to show you how we do a lot of this over here. So we have 25 pages. They're basically blank. If you want to go ahead and take some of your Gelli prints that you photocopied and then to your coffee stain them, do that, because that's how we get this color bleeding that happens, which I love. You guys know that. You can put a few of these in there as well. And then we're going to do a quick glazing, and this is for the benefit of the new members, but at the same time, just reminding the old guard that go ahead and photocopy some of your scripting or some of your images, or go into magazines or other a lot of the stuff that's in public domain, a lot of the images and things that are fun to use, and photocopy them. And then we're going to do this glazing process. So I have some of my script. I have some from some vintage letters that I've collected over the years. These right here, I collected about 20 years ago when I was in Paris and had gone to, everybody's favorite flea market, Marché aux Puces, in Clignancourt. And so I have some stuff I have to share with you guys this month. So I'll put some of these goodies up so you'll be able to use them in your journal. So they'll be going up in the next day or so. I'll put up the free downloadables for the month, and I'm going to put some of this stuff in there. And then these are some of my mark making to include. So I'll put some of this in there as well. So I'm going to take a couple of these, and we're going to glaze them real quickly. So, I can show you, those of you who don't know how I glaze, the glazing, and then just as a reminder for everybody who already knows how, because these are good pages to put in the journal as well. Okay, so let me get my brayer here. And also, I think I'm working through, I'm working through our gold, because our DIY shop, I think we've all pretty much determined that they discontinued their acrylic paint line. Although you can still find their products in Michael's and Joann's and what have you, but I can't find the acrylics any longer. So my assistant, who I just adore, she's awesome, and she just stays ahead of me and just constantly helping me. So she pulled some, we got together this weekend both our birthdays are in April. So we were like, oh, let's get together for our, we live in 2 different cities here in Arizona. So it's a couple-hour drive between us. So that's why we're not it's not all the time, but periodically we get together. And so we were giving each other gift exchanges. So among the gifts that she gave me, she said, I want to give you practical stuff like that, that I know you're going to be using. Because she knows I'm doing a lot of purge packs and things like that. So I'm talking about it all the time. I've got to get rid of stuff. And I have a whole new kind of journey that I'm going to be going on starting next year that I'll be sharing with you guys. It's going to be really going to be intense and fun. But it's something new for me. So anyway, I'm downsizing a lot of stuff. And so that's why I talk about it all the time. I gotta get rid of stuff, because if I did, if I weren't downsizing, I wouldn't be talking about it. Because I don't mind having stuff, especially in my studio, art supplies. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, she got me these Martha Stewart. So we have champagne gold, we have pale bronze, and we have light gold. She also got me the gold, but I think that's going to be a little too dark. For the glazing part. This is perfect for other stuff. And then I also have my trusty champagne in Decor Arts, because I love the champagne. They've changed their packaging. So if you're used to it looking like this, like I was for the longest time. I kept on saying, this isn't it, this isn't it. And I'm like, let me look back at my original bottle. I'm like, this is it. They just changed their packaging. So this is also good, but this gives us the champagne gold. Let me turn my fan on in my studio here because I'm getting a little warm. Like they say in the South, I'm starting to glisten. So anyway, here we are. Okay, so we're going to try these and see what they do. I'm going to try all of them because we have enough pages here. We have 4 paints. And so I'm going to glaze each one of them a different color, just so that you can see. Now, of course, you know, you can do the intense jelly printing on them, but the ones I'm going to be putting in the journals that I'm selling and the ones that I'm using for my own journal, I'm keeping everything neutral because I don't want to influence the purchaser's color palette. I want you guys to be able to do whatever you want to do. And I don't want you to come across the page and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is how Robin had it. You know, I want this to be totally neutral. So having some coffee. So let's start off with this first one. So I'm going to use the light gold. So let's see how this prints. Well, it's a pretty color. It reminds me of like the champagne decor. It's really nice. Now, Martha Stewart colors, these are like $2.99 or $2.49 or something like that. But they are intense colors. Got a piece of hair on here. Where's all this hair coming from? Oh, my brush. My Sumi brush. That's what I did on the plate last. So you guys will see that video too. So a thin layer like that. And then put your page down. So this is going to definitely be sort of a champagne color, which I think I'm gonna love. Yep. Wow, that's nice. Let's take a look at it. That's nice. See the glazing? I mean, you can see the difference between, let's show you here, because it didn't go all the way to the bottom there. It's hard with the light. Okay, you see that color? That's a nice color. Actually, that's a really nice color. So I'm gonna put a little bit more on the plate so I can get finished getting color on here. But with the glazing, for those of you who are new to this glazing, it really is a glaze. You're just going to keep on rolling the color on the plate until you've mostly lifted it off. Like you can really see through this. You can see how you can see through to the bottom there. That's what we want. Because we just want to pick up thin layer. Oh, that's nice. Now this is one that I've done a the way I did it, I'm gonna pick these up differently because my plate is just fresh right now. I'm just getting started, and so around the edges, it's not going to pick up color. It's only going to pick up color in that area. But I don't want to clean it yet because I want to do something where I'm gonna pull more of that image up. So I don't want to take it away yet. Just do it. So if I do it like this, where I'm getting most of it. Okay, perfect. So this page I actually had echo dyed, right? And you guys know how to do it. And this is just like a little section. This isn't the same one. But this one I had photocopied, and then I actually echo dyed it, you know, so it has a lot of color variation on it. So when I went to do this one, let me see if it's over here so I can show you the actual one that I photocopied. Where did it go? Like so far away. Anyway, I actually photocopied the stained version. I can't find it right now. I don't want to waste time, but and so that's why you're seeing the color variation. So this is a photocopy of the one that was already echo dyed, but this is nice. I really like this one. Now it's not the same color gold as a DIY, but this is a winner. So this one is light gold, Martha Stewart. So put that on your list. Good. So let's do the the next one, let's go for the pale bronze. Let's see what color we get here. It's a little darker, but this might, we'll see how it does. The main thing is really to roll it on and then roll it off. Like get, don't have a lot of color on there. So just glazing. But it takes an ordinary page and turns it into a jelly print very quickly. Now that's nice too. That's pretty. That looks good. Let's do the bottom half of it. I like this. I like the Martha Stewart because for there to be inexpensive paints, you do get a lot of color pigmenting in a bottle. They're like the decor art for sure, the folk art in the they're like the folk art too in the color shift, where they're inexpensive paints, but you're getting a lot of punch out of those little bottles. Okay, I like that. See, that's a nice neutral again, right? Get some up here. Perfect. So that makes a nice neutral page to work from. Okay, so I like this. I think it's definitely more pigment than this, though it's the same color basically. It's close in color. It's still a little bit more pigmented. But in our glazing process, it's going to work well. And I think, but let me see. We need to see if we can find something just a little lighter. Let's just see if this will do it. Champagne gold. Because this right here, it puts a gold down, but it really is light. Like this is still more color than the DIY shop. But I love it. So definitely get it because you see what it's done. It's my color box. I mean, my light box is really putting a lot of shine on the page, but you can see. And where it went as a double layer there where I overprinted, you can see that color. So I do like this a lot. Definitely, definitely. Okay, so let's take this light gold. Let's see what this does. Okay, this might do it. This is going down like the DIY shop. Yep, this is it. Okay, I found it. This is the color we want to replace. Get all those other colors though. All of those are nice. I will be using every one of these. So run out to Michael's or to Joann's. Or, go down to, if you're in another country, those of you who don't have these paints. Although I generally put the, I've got to update my master list because I find that you can find these on Amazon too. So if I find these on Amazon, I will definitely the link for you guys. What was the color that I just used? Champagne gold, right? Yeah. So this is a good one, at least so if you want to order them, you can get them. And one of the things I've been talking about with Lisa is, for those of you who are out of the country, is just figuring out, because these paints are so cheap here in the States, that I think we're going to try to put like some little paint boxes together of the main ones that I use, so that, you obviously have to pay the cost of the shipping it to you, but I think it'll be a way of get some of the stuff that's hard for you guys to find. So just let me know if that's something you're interested in, and we'll make some boxes that we can ship out to various places so that you can get the paints, but at least in this little box of paints, because I'm going to keep it small so that it should ship pretty cheaply. But I pretty much figured we could get 5 different paints in there. So you get like a nice little selection of the main ones that I use, like the glazing paints, my color shifts, like how my favorite, the orange, and some of my favorite ones, so that you get them. Okay, this is it. This is nice. This does the glazing very similar to the DIY shop. You see how light it is? It's just a very thin coating of the gold. And that's what this one does. It doesn't put a whole lot of color down. So when I'm doing glazing, or when I'm doing a transfer, an image transfer, and I just need some color down there, but I don't really want to affect my palette. That's how I use the DIY shop. And you'll see more and more of that for those of you who are not familiar with it. So definitely the replacement as it stands now for the DIY shop is the Martha Stewart Champagne Gold. Champagne Gold. That's what you want. And that's pretty readily available. So we'll use that in replacement of this. And then for the last one, let's go ahead and put down the metallic. The in the Deco Arts, this is a Champagne Gold. And I love this one, but see, it's a different. This is Martha's Champagne Gold, which was, I'll just show you, it was a lighter, I'll just do with it. It was this sort of lighter goldy gold, but the Deco Art one is sort of more like a platinum or something in this color. Kind of hard to say, but it's gorgeous. It's one of my all-time favorites. So let's go ahead and put this down. See? Oh, love it. It is such a yummy color. I just don't know what this color. It's almost like a brownie, goldy. I don't know. You can see the difference between the two areas there. I can see it pretty good down here too. You can see the difference. It's like the best. So let's get the other side. And it has like a lot of extra mica or something in it, I think, which is why I like too. So it kind of gives sort of a silvery color to it. Also, it's, it's a little bit more of that kind of thing. Alrighty. So then I'm going to show you how I do the pages, and then you guys are ready to go ahead and get your journals together so that if I do start next week, you're ready. If not, it'll be the week after for sure. And even if you're waiting to get the fabric covers, which will also have insert pages in it, those of you who've bought them before, that I also have them. There'll be a full amount of pages in the journals when you get them. They'll have the 25 pages in them, just like I showed you. So when you order them from the site, and these are $25. When you order them, they'll come with the cover and they'll come with the 25 pages inside. Okay. But because I'm still working on these, I'm a little behind. So these probably won't go up for a couple more weeks. But because I want to put them all up at the same time so that, when you go to them, you can have a full selection. So if we start working on them before then, which we probably will, you already have these pages made. And so, you can just start adding them to the journal when you get them. So that won't be a problem because the way the journal is set up. Alrighty, now the way I actually make the pages is I sort of decide which side I'm going to. And these, the other thing I've been doing, which I really have liked, is as opposed to getting rid of the edges on these pages, so I like all that material. And generally what I would do is after I've glazed them, I'd echo dye this other side, or you could double print both sides so that you don't have this blank sort of white side like that, which is not all that great, but at least you're going to see how I do the pages. So we'll use these. I'll leave those over there because I want to be able to echo dye the backs of those. Okay. So, but just the quick of it all is you get your stack. And I have a template. Now, if you want to make these the same size as mine, I'll give you the dimensions. Because I'm using a standard size Midori journal. So basically I have to get rid of this and I get rid of the bottom section, but I normally cut that. This I tear. I do one side, but you know, you could take it and, I mean, I do it both ways, I guess. So we can take it and center it pretty much and tear both sides, or you can just decide to do it like this and tear one side. I'm gonna tear one side because the reason why I do that is because I like a lot of this extra stuff that's on the edges, right? And if I tear it in the middle, I'm gonna at least I'm gonna lose both sides. But if I tear it on the side, then I'm going to not lose this side. And probably what I should do, if I were really thinking it through, I always look to see what side I like the best. I would get them down to size prior to echo dyeing them. How about that? That would be something. That's a novel idea. Need to do that moving forward, huh? I never think about it. I just pull all the paper out and start. So excited to echo dye that I just pull them out and get started. So this is, let me give you the dimensions. It is 8 inches high. Let me write these down so that I can put some notes in on the page for you guys. So the page is 8 by, the height is 8 inches and the width is 9. Basically 9 and 1, 2, 3, 8. That's what it is. So 9. So we'll just say 9, and to keep it as simple, we'll say 9 1/4. And it's always so much easier. I've started even using centimeters because I swear to goodness, it's so much easier than inches. For those of you who are into centimeters, it's going to be 23.5 centimeters long by 20 and a half, and 20.5 wide. That's centimeters. Okay, and I'll put those below the video too. But okay, so that's the width we're going through. So I just take one of my pages that I already have, and I go for it. So I put a metal edge ruler down, and basically I just hold it down really tight and I rip it because I want to have some ripped edges on it. And then hold on to these because you know how we use those to, I use these to glue them back on pages and collage and do the jelly printing over them. They just look fabulous. I'll have to show you from my my other journal for those who haven't. I know some of you follow me in Art Mythos and you've seen it. Those of you who haven't taken any of the courses in my studio school, which is Art Mythos, which is basically monthly modules where I just help people work through not only their daily journaling, but their language, the language of their art, you know, by creating infinite resources of, I had that little piece that was getting in the way of me getting a smooth cut. So I just take 2 or 3 pages at a time, and I just keep on doing this until I get to the bottom. Okay, so these I keep because I use them in, where's my journal? In my other daily journal, the one that we do over in Art Mythos, for instance. See, I've glued them down to a journal page, the strips, And then I've printed right on top of them. Don't they look fabulous printed on top of? Look at that. I mean, that just looks so good. That's why I like printing on these eco dye papers. They just make everything look old and the jelly prints look yummy. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a lot of printing right on the page. Look at this one. Let me see if you can see that. See? See all this staining. So actually, I've just glued these strips down and then painted on them. So we can do the same thing. We can actually glue these strips down just on a piece of drawing paper. And when you're just jelly printing, on loose sheets of paper, print back over top of these collage strips are just to die for. Okay, so now we have that. And then for these edges, what I like to do is I keep my template going. I take and just lay this down. And using my straight edge, my X-Acto, and the straight edge here, the ruler, metal rulers are the best for all of this. Just lightly score. Don't try to go all the way through the first time. That's a mistake people make when they're using their X-Actos. They try to get all the way through the whole stack, and they wonder why it's getting all chopped up or why they miscut. Just take your time with it. You'll get all the way through to the bottom. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure or anything. Let the blade work. Okay, so here's our pages. Ready to go for our inserts. Then what I do, so these are just the blank pages. I'm not going to put these pages in yet because I guess I could have done this one. I'll go ahead and put this one so we can just have a nice little cover first. I was going to put this one in anyway. Let's just do this again. So here again, when I look at, let me show you the other way that we can do this. I do this too when I have full sheets of color and I want to keep it all. So what you just, then in this case, you just take and fold it in half directly. So if you have sheets that have your printing and stuff on it and, it's a good way to use it all by folding it in half and then taking the part, line up the folded edges. This is the open edge there, right? And then I just kind of take and use my bone folder. You can use anything that's dull. And I just score it so that I know that's where I should fold. So I take that. Or you can use if you have one of those scoreboards or something like that or whatever. But I fold it back there. And the same thing here. So I take and fold them in. And you can leave it like that until you kind of get to this page and decide what you want to do. When we're actually working in the journal, you may decide you want to glue the whole thing down and not have any flaps and just have a flat page. You may decide to make sort of a slight pocket. You may decide to glue another sheet on and extend it into a deeper pocket. So I just leave these as they are and I play with them when I get to it. So we got to cut the bottom off. So this edge is not a whole lot going on there where I have more color at the top. So I just kind of make a decision on what part I want to cut. And in this case, I want to get rid of this bottom half. So put my ruler down. We'll just cut this off. Okay. Trash. Alrighty. So now here we have it. Move stuff out the way. So I'm kind of getting myself. Alrighty, so then what I do, so this will be one of the sections that'll go in our journal. Then what I do, so it's not so obvious that these are all straight sides and these are all torn sides, I just do the simplest thing where I just flip them. So that's, I just kind of flip the edges so that I have one. I'm just going every other, right? One edge is torn, one edge is, and that's how I do them because I like the whole, junk journal, me, wabi sabi anyway. If that bothers you and you want all edges straight, then don't tear it. Just cut it. Put it down and use your X-Acto. And if you want both sides torn, and like me, you don't really care about losing some of the grunge that happens on the side, then position your image in the middle and then rip off both sides if you want the torn edge. If you want it torn, but you do want the information all the way to the side, then do like I haven't done, which is get your edges torn and everything down to the size. This 9.5 or 9.25 by 8-inch sheet, and then echo dye it. So I've given you some options here, and that's just based on how you like to work. Okay, my aesthetic is sort of grunge, fun. I want it to kind of look old. I want, I like the idea that some of the pages are torn and some are straight. It kind of looks more like stuff just got picked up everywhere. But do what I've given you the options, so do what you feel aesthetically is pleasing for you. Then what I do is I take and I fold the whole stack at the same time, or the majority of it. So the majority of the pages, because if you fold each one, you get this knife sharp fold. And then what happens is they splay out even more. They kind of start stacking out. And you get this really rigid fold area here that just kind of telescopes out. But if you fold them all together, what happens is they all round and you get this more rounded area there. And so what you do is you take the whole stack, you hold it really nice and tight. You grip this one edge. The other edge that you're folding over, your right handed like I am, you probably use your right hand. If you're left handed, you'll be gripping here and doing it this way. So what you want to do is grip it here. So hold it real tight so these pages aren't going to move. And you take this and you fold it over until you get them lined right up against each other like this. You see what I'm doing? And then I'm literally pushing them all down in there. I put a lot of pressure. I'm pushing them so that they don't slide out as much, and I contain the fold back here. And then you can just kind of take your fingers and pinch it. Take your thumbs and pinch it. So now that way it's not a whole lot jutting out on these sides, and you have more of this sort of rolled kind of fold there. You see how it's like more of a rolled fold? Because if you flatten each one first, you get one that's going to be like, it'll telescope out. It'll be like a sharp fold, and then it makes it more on these edges. And I don't really care for that with these pamphlets. So then once you've basically folded, you can take your bone folder or something that you use to apply pressure, and there you have it. So that's how we create our signatures. And then any of the, like this one, I can put on top of it. See that? And so now I have this edge here that I can play with. We'll be doing different things with these. So make sure you put a few of these full sheets that you folded back like that in your journal, so it gives you some options. So when I get to them in mine, it may not be the same page for you, but when you get to it, you'll say, oh, okay, Robin did it like that. So you'll know how to, some suggested ways of how I'm journaling with them. So that's everything. These right here will go in as pages in my journal as well. And they'll go, the ones that I'm sending out to you all will have my scripting in there. I'll put some of this up. I'll be putting some of these in the journals too, but I'm gonna put a few pages of this up on your downloadables so that you'll have some of this to incorporate in your own. But these, I'm going to echo dye the back because I don't want them like that. And of course, the ones that I'm doing will also have my collage pages on there, but you guys know how to do this. And I'll be showing this when we start our journal. I'll actually do a page so you guys can see how I did this, if you want to, just for the ideas of it all. And And there we have it. That's going to get us started in our spring summer journals, which is the same thing I have going on here. Oh, and our envelope. Where's our envelope? So this was one of the ones that we just did. And you can do a number of these, right? And you can put them throughout your journal. But just take it and fold it in half like this. And it just becomes a fun little pocket thing that we can put anywhere. You can open it up and put it anywhere in your journal. And that's just going to add to what we're doing. Places to tuck things. It's a lot of fun. So you'll have your envelopes done. You'll do your Eco Dye papers, cut them down to the dimensions. These are the dimensions I'm using. This is the Midori standard size. So I like that because then it allows you when you're traveling. Where's my other one? When I'm traveling, oh, I hope I have it here. If not, I'll show you guys the next time. I have all other kind of journals and things, my calendars. Oh, here it is. This is one of my older ones. This is one I travel a lot with. So it'll have, I have like pockets and places to put things. I have a note thing in here. I have one of these pockets. So you can literally go on Amazon and go to the Midori section. And a lot of the inserts and stuff that they sell will fit this standard size journal. So see the one we just made, there's always two. And the ones I send out always will have two elastics. Like you can see here, you can see the red, but here's one here. And then there's one that the journal is being held in by. And I do that on purpose so that you can put two art journals in there, or you can do like I do. You can have an area where you put your book, it can be what is it, a calendar, notebook, a place that you can put. I put my extra supplies in these pockets. So just some extra journaling note cards and just little things sort of ready to go. I put extras in this pocket here so that when I'm on the road journaling, I have all my extra stuff with me. And so in the case of this one that we just made, just find the center. You take the elastic here and just stretch it over, put it in. Now see? So now you have your travel journal along with these. I love this pockets here. I'll have to put some links for this stuff for you guys. Because this is the Midori one, so it's nice and thick. These are the tabs that I get, the Midori tabs, so you can actually slide them on your, And you can also get these pockets here, Midori pockets. I get these just to slide stuff in. And then see the whole thing closes up, and look at that. You're ready to go. So you can actually take the journals, because when I send the leather ones out that I make, I do include both of these so that you definitely can do the same thing as this, or you can just have two sections of journaling things in here. I mean, you can do them a whole lot of different ways. The choice is yours, but I'm saying that so that you know that it's the standard size Midori. And that's the size that I've created these pages to. So you probably want to stick to something close to this, but you can make your journal any size you want. If you just want to take the paper 8.5 by 11, fold it in half, and have a wider page that's going to, like if you just take your 8.5 by 11, fold it in half, so you have a page that's like this size. That's kind of more of the size of the standard journal that I work in on Art Mythos, you see? So then you'd have a bigger page. And there's no reason why you couldn't make your journals this size. I'm just giving you the reasoning why I use this size, because then I know I'm always ready to have a journal that I can throw in my travel cover, take on the road, or like if you have the leather one like this, put them in there, take it on the road. All my inserts are in there, and I'm ready to go. So there we have it. Okay. So I'll leave you guys to get started on your journals and get ready for the next journey here on Patreon in our second Gelli JunkAdori series that is going to have a lot of jelly printing and stuff in it. So we'll have fun with that one. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for all your support over here. You know, I love you guys. We have a great community, and I really, really appreciate you supporting my work and, you know, and enjoying what I love to share with you all and a lot of the behind the scenes over here. And anything that you want to learn or know, or you have questions about, or you're not sure how to do something, always put the comments in the videos, because I read the comments, and that helps me to kind of answer questions and be able to do things in my studio that's directed to questions that you may have. And we can kind of work through those things together. All right, guys, take care. Love you all. And until next time, happy creating. Bye-bye.